Greetings, traveller. Come in and take a seat by the fire. Today we will be weaving a tale together. This time, however, it will be a little different. Before we embark on another full narrative, let us take a closer look at one of the elements of the world in which our stories are set. This will be a set of shorter tales. Tales of the first men, the true progenitors of civilization. Tales of willing ignorance and unwilling ignominy. Tales of the great injustice of mankind and the death of honour. The price of a monster. The air is thick and humid, and the stalls around the amphitheatre-like lecture hall are crammed with students, hobbyists, and casual gawkers, as a man of slight build steps out onto the floor at its centre. He is shorter than average, with thinning hair combed over a balding scalp in what can only be described as a great show of optimism. According to the pamphlets scattered across the seats and stuffed into various pockets throughout the crowd, his name is Halfbar Vikris, and he is the author of the Karsian Empire's most widely recognized and best-selling bestiary. Behind him, red-faced and breathing hard, a pair of university porters wheel a large, box-like shape concealed by a heavy cloth.
Citizens, I come before you now with a great revelation to share.
He begins, his arms thrown wide with dramatic flair. An expectant hush settles over the crowd.
It has been my life's work to catalogue and understand the great beasts which haunt the dark corners of our world. Hitherto, however, one creature has eluded me. One beast has remained beyond my research, due in no small part to the ferocity with which it is protected by its savage handlers. That has been the case until today.
The crate comes to a halt in the centre of the open space, and one of the porters leans on its corner, breathing heavily, only to leap back as the draped container shakes violently. Halfbar pauses for dramatic effect, and a few members of the crowd murmur impatiently.
Beneath this very cloth, I have a specimen of a creature poorly understood by the civilized folk of our fair empire. A creature so shrouded in mystery its very name evokes speculation and rumour-mongering. A beast so rare...
Get on with it!
A voice echoes down from the assembled crowd, followed by more impatient heckles. Such exhibitions are common during market days in the capital city, and the assorted onlookers have little patience for suspense building. Halfbar bows obsequiously.
But of course, you wish to see the beast, do you not?
A chorus of voices calls out in the affirmative.
Very well. Behold, the troll!
On cue, one of the porters wrenches the cloth away, prompting an audible gasp from some of those in the crowd. Within a cage built of iron bars as thick as a man's arm is a hulking figure, nearly filling the space. The creature is a craggy mess of stony growth and muscle, its torso distended into a block-like slab. One arm is fused into the side of its chest, while the other ends in a set of 3 wickedly barbed fingers of rock. These fingers are currently curled through the bars of the cage.
This creature, gentle folk, was captured in a battle in the hinterland of Falldale mere weeks ago. Behold, how even the wounds of its battle refuse to touch such a hideous monster for long.
Halfbar is beginning to warm up to his role now, hands gesturing wildly as he builds his own melodrama.
Picture, for a moment, the horror our brave soldiers face when confronted by this brutish being. I'm told on good authority that it regrew its arm 3 times before finally being brought low and bound.
It is pure invention, of course. The mercenary who sold him the animal had told him only that such things were best dealt with from a great distance, with siege engines, while they're sleeping. But in this case, the brute had been found practically rooted to the ground during one of the many excursions into the northern swamps in search of loot and valuables. Once the tribe of orcs surrounding the creature had been dealt with, the entrepreneurial merc had opted to bring the troll in alive. And just as well, too. The crowd is growing raucous and enthusiastic now, and Halfbar knows exactly what to do about it.
Can you even imagine, gentle people, the strength, the health, the virility that might come from the essence of such a beast? Well, today, my friends, you are in luck. With my studies complete, I have found that mere contact with a talisman made from such a creature's flesh, blood, or bone can impart some of its legendary traits onto you, the wearer. I'm preparing to publish my next great work, and without the need for this specimen, I am here to offer you a unique, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
He pulls a small knife from his belt and nods to the porters. One draws out a board from behind the cage, setting it up as the other retrieves a crate of small, clinking vials. There, daubed in gaudy coloured paint, is Halfbar's price list. On the nature of Thrall. It is true enough that the modern orc is a far cry from their elevated ancestors. Their learning and culture have devolved alongside their physical forms, subjected to seeping and insidious taint in the northern swamps and the impossibly ancient cave structures of the Bloodwind Mountains. The creatures known to mankind as trolls, at first glance, are afflicted in an identical fashion. But this is far from the case. The troll, better named Thrall in their own language, are far from the empty-headed brutes most often depicted hiding under bridges in children's stories. They are, in fact, a variety of orc, usually the most intelligent and experienced of their number, albeit one subjected to an inexplicable genetic aberration. Thrall are essentially orcs who, for reasons as yet unknown, regenerate tissue at a seemingly supernatural rate. So much so that left to their own devices, they are functionally immortal, freed as they are from the cellular deterioration brought about by old age in most mortal beings. A Thrall on the battlefield is a horrendous sight. With tremendous strength and unbelievable endurance, backed by a near-frenzied thirst for combat, a single Thrall is more than capable of swinging a battle in favour of its allies. But the truth behind this battle fervour is a tragic irony. Given a peaceful existence, a Thrall might well be expected to live forever. And indeed, many who survive today hail from a time when their civilization was at its zenith. However, this miraculous longevity is no longer without its price. The same insidious influence that has warped the first men into the creatures mankind now calls Orcs has affected the Thrall's blessing with a horrifying potency, driving their once immaculate regeneration into an overcharged nightmare. Today's Thrall find that over time their cells begin to regenerate too rapidly. This leads to their bodies warping with spontaneous growths of painful, cancerous tissue, which hardens rapidly into stone-like ridges, giving rise to the myth of their turning to stone in sunlight. This effect is only amplified when recovering from a physical injury, such as a wound in battle. On occasion, these bony swellings can occur in the cranial region, affecting cognitive function and memory. An even greater tragedy when one recalls that most Thrall represent the accumulated knowledge and oral tradition of a dozen generations or more. Left too long, a Thrall may well find itself incapable of movement altogether, locked in place like some giant stone tree, insufferable pain becoming their only constant. Thus, driven half mad by pain and cranial swelling, most Thrall choose to take the battlefield, not to kill, but to die before their own bodies cease to function. The sad truth is that to live on as a mouthpiece and mentor for their tribe is the greatest sacrifice a Thrall can make. The words of Thrall.
They call us savages. These small creatures in their stolen holds look out at the night and they fear us. Their misguided priests call us the servants of darkness. Their noble lords call us beasts. They squat in the halls of our ancestors, and they call us invaders. They see our strength, and they think it unnatural. How easily they lay claim to their stolen civilization. How readily they lie to their children about the sins of their past. How quickly they forget. But I am Thrall, immortal. Mine is to remember, even when the world forgets. We trod this earth when the world was still young. Before they struck flint and lit fires against the dark, we worked marvels. When they were sculpting their hovels from mud and straw, we were raising towers and aqueducts towards the heavens. While they strove to leave their barren rock, we made for ourselves a paradise in these lands. And when their driftwood ships finally reached our shores, what did we do? When they landed, starving, scattered, what did we do? We welcomed them. We fed them. We sheltered them. We taught them our ways, our crafts, our customs, And oh, how they learned. Such eager students, such keen observers. They learned so much of what we offered them. They learned to build and to farm, to read and write. They learned our metal craft, our stonework, our medicine. But one lesson eluded them. One core part of our teachings never took root. They never learned the value of peace. Never understood that survival no longer required them to struggle. We taught them to craft plowshares, and they invented swords. We provided them everything they could possibly need, and they invented greed. Despite all our gifts, they brought their hunger with them across the sea. And then, like the vermin they are, in our lands of plenty, they began to multiply. We did not see it at first. Why should we? Our society had no purpose for greed. Our people knew no hunger. What reason had we to raise our hands against one another? The first death struck us like a bolt from heaven itself. His name was Kaltaka, a Thrall like me, an immortal. There were more of us then, many more. He barely had time to scream. When they drove us out, we barely even resisted. We believed, naive as we were, that our homelands would be enough. We stepped back so readily. We had built our paradise once. Would we not do so again? Surely our errant students would be satisfied with everything we had ever built. Fools. Poor, trusting fools. Even then. And so we travelled to the woodlands, where the fledgling elves and their fey masters taught us that hunger and violence are not the sole purview of mankind. Even there, we were still pursued by the humans, driven further afield as they locked horns with the woodland folk. Seeing that we could not remain among the trees, we sought refuge further afield. The mountains proved fatal for many, where the icy wind bit like wolves, and tribal dwarves swarmed from their hidden mines like ants defending a nest. And still the humans pursued us, driven by envy, or perhaps it was guilt. They sought to wipe us from the earth. Only when we scattered to the swamps and the dark places Did they finally abate? Perhaps they believed there was so little here that we could not possibly survive. Perhaps they were right. But still, we did not fight back. Still, we did not take what was ours, what we had built. As the damp robbed us of what little knowledge we had kept in our books, we did not push back. When the rot stole our fine clothes and tarnished our few remaining works of art, we held ourselves back. When the stagnant swamp water seeped into our flesh and mottled our visage, rendered our fine voices to this grunting mess, we did nothing. We sowed the seeds and then left them to plunder the fields, unchallenged. Yet human hunger knows no bounds. Even now, they probe what little territory we still hold. Even now, centuries after their arrival on our shores, they seek to wipe us out. But there is one more lesson to teach our human friends. They call us savages. Then let us teach them the true meaning of savagery. Let us be what they fear most. Let them learn true fear. Let them fear us. Let them fear the orc.
Thank you for listening. I hope you have enjoyed these short tales and the alternate perspectives that they provide on a world rapidly descending into carnage. It is my intention to approach our tales from a variety of angles, including that of the orcs, although I will likely need to practice the voice a little, or I may become mute. If you have enjoyed these tales, please consider commenting below with any suggestions, constructive feedback, or a desired subject or direction for future tales. In particular, please do let me know what you think of this method of world building. Do you enjoy the insight, or would you rather I stick exclusively to our more narrative content? Please do let me know. Tell me what you thought, how you felt, and what you want to see next. And until we meet again, traveller, farewell and safe travels.